Thanks for joining me today, guys. My name's Tim. I am here with a fun one. We're going to do a little bit of a thought experiment. One of the gaming-related good ones. I also enjoy the apocalypse preparedness one and among others. But today the thought experiment we're going to be doing is desert island preparedness. Only in this case it is going to be gaming. We are going to assume, of course, that there is a kick-ass high-end PC somewhere on this deserted island and that it is well maintained and fully powered, because the scenario just doesn't work without that suspension of disbelief. The metrics I'm going to use for the gaming portion include variety, depth, quality and acclaim less so, and quality is of course subjective, and replayability. Those are all important, especially when you are making a list of games that you will not be able to play any else besides. So I initially started with a top 5, and I kept coming to 6. So I decided that instead of doing an honorable mention, we would just expand it to a 10. Some of these are going to have a little bit less involvement than others. So 10 and 9 are both kind of special cases. They're really more mindless time killers than games that I consider super deep or super compelling. They do very much hold your attention though, and that is Spider Solitaire, with 4 decks of course. If you're only going to play with 1 or 2, what's the freaking point? The best form of solitaire in my opinion, and since I won't be carrying decks of cards with me on the island, in particular 4 of them, I think the digital version would be the best way to go. Next up is a tower defense game called Rogue Tower. It is a one-man job indie title. I believe it was like $15 on Steam. Super fun. I was turned on to it by a YouTuber, a Civ 6 YouTuber named Potato McWhiskey, that was briefly playing it for a month or so back in the day when it first came out. Tons of fun, just mindless, rinse, repeat, real-time strategy, tower defense action. Can't go wrong with it. 8 and 7 are both Nintendo properties. One, in my opinion, the ultimate of the Super Nintendo era, and that is Super Metroid. It and Symphony of the Night combined are where the Metroidvania moniker came from, and it is still to this day best in its class. God, that game was freaking amazing. Just the sound design, the graphics, the depth, the making backtracking actually interesting. It just could almost do no wrong. The second of the pair is what I would consider the ultimate of the Switch generation, and it is one that I haven't finished, and that is Tears of the Kingdom. And I haven't finished it because I've been sidetracked by life and other games and my idiot cat that I love. But I want to finish it, and it is phenomenal, and it definitely makes the list. So number 6 was the one that I initially had in the honorable mention spot, and it is one that it was in the honorable mention spot because I couldn't choose between one of 3, and they're all in the same series, and it is Persona 3 Reloaded with the eventual DLC, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal. And I went with Golden. I still have my Vita to this day for playing Golden. The battery no longer holds a charge, but if I have it plugged in, it is still a little JRPG machine. Phenomenal game, humongous amounts of depth, tons of replayability, just phenomenal example of the time management JRPG combo. Phenomenal game. Number 5 is probably going to be a surprise to people who have followed my channel and to honestly people who just know me because I'm an RPG and a strategy nerd, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 has one of the best stories in gaming. It is also extremely replayable. It also has humongous amounts of varied gameplay, and it's also gigantic. You can beat it in 45 hours if you try. You can spend 200. You can replay it a dozen times and find new stuff all along the way. Just absolutely phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. Civ 6 would be my number 4. You might have guessed it by mentioning Potato McWhiskey earlier in the article, or in the video, but Civ 6 is a game that I have put 2,200 hours into, and on an island I would probably be very easily able to put another 2,200 in, depending on how long I was there, obviously. That game is endlessly replayable. It scratches all of the simulation and strategy itches that you could possibly have, and it is one of those games that keeps the mind sharp, in my opinion. And I think that that would be a very nice thing to have in a situation where you were stuck on an island like that. Number 3 might be another surprise, although knowing that I'm a fantasy lover might lean you in that direction, but it would be Elden Ring. It would be my greatest hope that the Shadows of the Erdtree expansion would be out before I got stranded, because I would like to play it as well. But it is the difficult action RPG, humongous fantasy world, A+ ultimate example of the genre. It is maddeningly frustrating, but it is also one of those games that rewards the time you put into it. And that is something that I think would really keep you coming back in a situation where you didn't have anything else going on. So number 2 and number 1 are probably not going to be surprising to people, and they're not interchangeable. There's a definite cut between the two, although I'm currently playing number 2 much more than number 1. Number 2 is Project Zomboid. I have been a recent convert to it. I was initially turned off by the graphics and the appearance of it being in a constant alpha state. I was turned on by some videos from Mr. Atomic Duck and Dr. Incompetent, or Dr. Incompetence, I can't recall. They were both doing some Zomboid videos, I believe, on Build 42. And it looks like Build 42 is going to be the kind of complete, almost retail version. Assuming it was out, I would love for it to be on the list. Even if it's not out, it would still make the list, because it is another just endlessly replayable, make you think, create your own tale as you go type of game. Can't go wrong with it. And last but not least is Baldur's Gate 3, the turn-based fantasy RPG D&D simulation that we all wanted without really knowing that we wanted. As soon as I saw previews of this game years ago, I knew it was going to be something special. I am not a high-end PC gamer. I game on a laptop with integrated graphics, so it is basically for simulation games and very, very low settings games. I don't even try. So I didn't do early access with it. I waited for the PS5 release. I have beaten it twice. I am on my, I am actually on hiatus from my Dark Urge playthrough, but I don't see how it wouldn't be a perfect addition to the list. So that's it. That's my top 10 as far as Desert Island games. Those are the 10 I would take with me if I had to make a list of the only 10 games I would ever play again. Again, assuming you've got a kick-ass PC on the beach. And yeah, let me know what you think of the list. Let me know if there are any weird, obvious choices that you would add, or any of my choices that you think are just absolutely terrible. I would appreciate the engagement. Push all those buttons, you know the drill. And thanks for coming. I'm Tim as always, and good to see you. Take care.